Hey guys, I was going to put this one on the martial arts playlist, but then I decided that I'd put it on the how-to because it doesn't just apply to martial arts. It's about a little bit more about Japanese thinking. It's a little bit more along the lines of the video on the how-to list, compliments and modesty. And the reason that I've made this one is because I get comments on my martial arts videos sometimes from people who tell me that they've got a blue belt in something, or a green belt in something, or a black belt in something. Just for those of you who don't do martial arts, just quickly, the way it works with martial arts is when you start as a beginner, and then usually it's either 8th Q or 5th Q, or white belt, and then yellow belt, orange belt, green belt, 5th Q, 4th Q, 3rd Q. Q just means level in Japanese, until you get to 1st Q, and then after you've done 1st Q, then you go for what they call Shodan, which is black belt. And Shodan actually means first step. So with that in mind, just have a look at this video. It's a reenactment. I've actually seen this scene a couple of times in Japan, and I've heard about it a number of times, and I actually did it twice myself. So it's a real situation that's been reenacted. The two dudes look very similar. Just remember that the one on the left is not Japanese, the one on the right is Japanese. Okay, Bob is not Japanese, Yoshi is Japanese. Okay, just have a look at that, and we'll talk about it in a moment. Hi, I'm Bob. Pleased to meet you. Hi Bob, I'm Yoshi. Pleased to meet you. How long have you been in Japan? I've been here for 3 weeks. 3 weeks? Very nice. Are you enjoying it? Yeah, I like Japan. It's really good. In Australia I do karate. Do you know karate? Oh, karate. I don't know much about that. Oh yeah, karate's great. I've been doing it for 3 years and I've got a black belt. 3 years? That's a long time. And you're a black belt. Wow, that's very cool. Yeah, I can look after myself. Yes, I can imagine. So, would you suspect from watching that Yoshi has been doing martial arts for 14 years and has had a black belt for 10 of those 14 years. The way the black belt system works in Japan is, and most martial arts, is the Shodan, the first step, and then Nidan, Sandan, Yondan. So first step, second step, third step, fourth step. So in Japan, not everybody does martial arts. I've actually been asked that question before. Not everybody does martial arts, but lots of people do. And those that do usually do it for a lot of years, and when they're doing it, they do a lot of it. So I know a guy that does, 12-year-old boy that does judo every morning and every night, Monday to Friday, and every Saturday morning. So that kid's training 11 times a week. And that's not uncommon for how they train when they train at anything, whether it be swimming or tennis or martial arts. And Japanese people, being very modest, won't even mention it. So it's just not in their style because they are modest. They don't tell you about their achievements. So just keep this in mind. If you're not into martial arts, this applies to anything else that you might happen to be reasonably good at. They don't mention it. But if someone does say, oh, I do karate, or I do judo, or I do some martial art, the next question from the Japanese person will be, what dan are you? So they don't ask what coloured belt. I know in my old country, if someone found out someone did martial arts, they'd say, what belt are you? And they go, oh, I'm a green belt, I'm a blue belt, I'm a black belt. They don't ask that here. They ask, what dan are you? They automatically assume that, of course, you must have a black belt. Because most of the people that do martial arts here have black belts while they're still in high school. I know Nidans and Sandans, second step black belts and third step black belts that are still in high school. You would have seen a video I made with an 11-year-old boy who was an absolute weapon. I think I called it something like that, 8-year-old weapon, that's what it was called. He's now a black belt. He's 9. He's a black belt. So you can see the embarrassment that it can cause. And if you watch that little reenactment again now, knowing that Yoshi has been doing it for 14 years and, you know, is very highly achieved in it, and watch his expressions in his face, that's exactly what they do. That's exactly what they do. Oh, you do martial arts? That's amazing. Oh, you're a black belt? Oh, that's incredible. In actual fact, you know, if you're older than 20 years old and you're only Shodan, which is just black belt, first level black belt, or first degree black belt, I think some people call it in English. If you're first degree black belt and you're over 20 years old, they're going to be thinking you're a bit of a slow learner, because that, you know, only black belt, only Shodan, only first degree, wow, and he's 25, wow. So it's really different, and you won't know. And here's something for those guys that leave the occasional comment. Some of those recent videos have triggered some of the hormones in the guys, and they'll leave messages like, you know, oh, I'll come to Japan and if I see anything I'll sort it out. Well, Japanese people they don't swagger here. I know in Australia, you know, you've got to be really aware, and if you look at somebody the wrong way, they're going to be going, what are you looking at? And everybody's swaggering around trying to be tougher. Not everybody, but lots of guys are swaggering around trying to be tougher than everybody else. They don't do that here. It's very rare to see that. Occasionally in a big city you'll see a guy doing that, but it's pretty rare. They don't usually do it. They're normally just really polite and really kind. But that really polite, really kind 15-year-old boy could be a weapon. He could have been training for 10 years. And the 65-year-old balding businessman in a suit could well have trained for 55 years and be a real weapon, and you wouldn't know. And it's not why they do it either. I mean, I know in my country, a lot of the guys that did martial arts there were doing it because they wanted to be able to defend themselves, they wanted to be able to fight if something happened and all that sort of stuff. It's not really the main reason that Japanese people do Budo. They do it because part of their culture, they like doing something that's part of their culture, but also they do it because it builds a stronger heart, you know, a stronger spirit, and it's good training for us to learn to be, to persevere and to try hard, and to, when things are difficult and we're suffering, to keep trying, and to be, you know, a little bit more strong in our resolve and that sort of thing. That's why they do it. They don't do it to fight. Having said that, the guy that comes to Japan thinking that because he's a big Australian or a big American that he's going to be the big man in Japan, he should keep in mind that that guy that might be 2/3 his weight could well be a real weapon. And these guys won't swagger, they won't push, you know, and like any good martial artist, if there is any sort of problem, they'll usually be very polite and resolve it quietly. But, you know, the big swaggering Westerner that comes here thinking he's the big man should keep in mind that if he pushes that little guy hard enough, that little guy might surprise him. So, yes. So to all of us, sorry about the road, it's a bit bumpy. So yeah, whether it be martial arts or whether it be computer programming or whether it be playing the guitar or whatever it is that we're good at, if we come to Japan, you know, for those of you who haven't seen it, watch the Modesty and Compliments thing. Watch the Modesty and Compliments video, because it's really important here. And this was only one very small example of that.